Salve te discipuli. This is help for your Latin studies in Henle First Year Latin exercise number 238. We have entered Unit 6, Lesson 22, and we'll be learning about the present subjunctive and purpose clauses. And so it would be helpful for you in your purple book to read this information on page 225 before you attempt exercise 238. The subjunctive, by the way, is a mood. So far we have been doing indicative mood, giving direct information. The subjunctive mood is a little bit different, and it says it's used in many special constructions, both in main clauses and subordinate clauses. And in Latin uses the subjunctive for where English would use helping verbs like may or might or should. And Latin will also use the subjunctive where English sometimes uses the indicative. So a lot of these translations in the subjunctive mood will have to be learned in context, is basically what this is telling us. The other thing that it points out is you'll want to open your grammar books to pages 48 and 49, which gives us the conjugations in a subjunctive mood for each of the 4 conjugation families. And you'll notice that the connecting vowels for those endings are different in each conjugation family when it's in the subjunctive mood. So the next several exercises in a row are going to look at each separate conjugation family and have us give the form of each verb within that conjugation family so that we can sort of start to recognize those different endings in the subjunctive mood. So let's take a look at exercise 238. That's primarily going to be here on page 48, the example of our model verb laudo, now in the subjunctive mood. This is our first conjugation verb information. So we are going to be looking for these certain endings in our model verbs so that we can say their person and number. Okay, so starting with the first one, again, these are all first conjugation verbs. So we have coloquet. And by the way, it would be helpful, I think, for you to just remind yourself of what these verbs mean. And if you need to, a real easy way to look that up is in your purple book, starting on page 217. You have a listing of all of the first conjugation verbs in alphabetical order. That goes to the next page, and then second, third, and so forth. So if you don't have that tabbed, just know that there is a glossary for just those units 3, 4, and 5 that we just did, heavy on the verbs. So I see here that colloco means place, or to station. Okay, so coloquet, if I look in my grammar book, rule number 186, that ET ending, that would mean that he, she, or it may place or station, right? But it is a third person singular, and that's what we're looking to identify. We want to say that this is a third person singular and that it's present tense in the subjunctive mood. All right, then we have the word number 2 is debt. So again, if I look back, if you don't have that one memorized, or if it's not familiar because of that change in the ending, this comes from our word do, dare, dati, datus, which means give. So debt, D-E-T, would again have that E-T ending, meaning that he, she, or it may give. Debt is another third person, singular, present tense verb in the subjunctive mood. Okay, and another one, number 3, perturbet. Again, if we checked our vocabulary, we would see that that means to disturb or to confuse, right? And that et, again, is the third person singular present tense and it would be translated something like that he, she, or it may confuse. I've often heard people say that the subjunctive mood sort of communicates a wish or a hypothetical. And so if you think of it that way, making that verb hypothetical or wishful is how that's translated. That's getting a little bit ahead of what we're doing today, but just as we're starting to understand this, I thought that was helpful. Okay, finally, number 4, laudes. We see that stem, we recognize that stem as meaning to praise. And that ending, es, we see here in the grammar book as a second person singular. So that might mean something like that you may praise, talking about one person. So we have a second person singular, again, present tense. And all of these are subjunctive mood. Okay, so keep working through that list and just identify, compare to your grammar book, page 48, and figure out the person, number, and tense of each of those verbs. I hope this has been helpful. Have a great day.